Good morning. It is Tuesday, June 22nd. It is amazing how the time is flying, and I hope you are going to enjoy our winter weather that we're having today. As the temperatures have been up in the upper 90s, feeling like 100, 104 the other day, to today is going to be in the low 80s. So get out and enjoy some time in the openness of the outdoors before the temperatures go skyrocketing again. Uh, I was researching the other day uh, different mountains in the world that are not very easy to climb, and my research led me to K2. And if you've never heard of K2, it is on the border of Pakistan and China. It is not the tallest mountain in the world, but it is the most difficult on the planet to climb. Unlike Mount Everest, where you could actually walk to the top, there's been enough people that have gone up there and kind of beaten some trails in there, so you could walk to the top, although it would be rather difficult for most of us. K2, on the other hand, requires a lot more skill, a lot more equipment. You wouldn't be able to just walk it. There's parts you would actually have to scale to get to the top. And I got to thinking about sometimes in our life, we have these mountains that seem insurmountable. We don't seem like we're going to be able to climb them and get around them. And most of the time in our lives, though, mountains we don't want to get around. Either the difficulties in our life that in order for them to become in the past, we have to climb over. So we need to find a way, and God makes a way for us, even though sometimes it doesn't feel like He's making a way, or sometimes it feels like it doesn't make sense the way He's helping us through it. He always makes a way. And it kind of leads me to the walls of Jericho. The children of Israel, their first time into the promised land after 40 years in the desert. And God says, I want you to go and I want you to take this city. Well, it's a very, very fortified city. It's got walls around it that are over 20 feet thick. And they seemingly don't have a way in. They don't have modern weaponry to be able to break holes in the wall. And even if they got through the outside wall, they'd have to dig their way through 20 feet, which even that wouldn't work because of the type of material it is. It would collapse on them. So how does God make a way for them? He tells them, for 6 days, I want you to walk around the city in silence. And then you start up, you make one revolution around the city, and you go back to the camp. And you do that for 6 days. I don't know about you. When I first read that story, I'm like, what sense does that make? Because then on the seventh day, God says, I want you to walk around the city again, except this time, I want you to make all kinds of noise. Blare your horn, scream and hollering, do your battle cry, all that stuff as you walk around the city 7 times. And on the 7th time, the walls of Jericho came down. But they didn't fall inward. They fell out toward the Israelites, which, if you think about an opposing army trying to break into or battle their way into a city, the walls are going to fall in because they're being attacked from the outside and the pressure is being put on the inside. But God made a way for the Israelites to get in by building them a ramp, using the very walls that just fell down. So now the Israelites, after the walls have come down, can charge up into the city with no problem. because even if the walls had fallen in, they still would not have been able to get into the city because the outside wall was still so high. And we can see now what God was doing. He was teaching them to trust Him, to be patient, to wait. We don't always like to wait. I know my patience at times is not the greatest, but God does ask us to be patient, wait on Him, and trust Him. And when we trust Him, even in the midst of these mountains that seem unmovable, God is making a way to move those mountains. He can make a way for anything in our lives. So as you face any mountains today or tomorrow or the next day, may you remember the city of Jericho and how God grew them in patience and trust, the Israelites, as they waited for God to take those walls down and make a way for them to be victorious, because He will make a way for you to be victorious as well. God bless.